Friday, the 27th of October 2023, and in this evening's show, we are running the rule over 3 points against Cheltenham Town on Tuesday evening. We look ahead to tomorrow's match at Bloomfield Road as we look to hopefully leapfrog Peterborough and cement our place in the playoff spots. And I'm John Aspinall, and this is the Seasanders Podcast. Extra time special. It says match reaction, but it's an extra time Cheltenham review and Peterborough preview.
With a great tradition.
Good evening, everybody, on a very special Friday, Tim. It's not very often we come on a Friday, is it? We thought we'd fire one out just to appease the masses.
Well, I think some probably didn't realise we did a Monday night. I think with you being in the deepest, darkest Cumbria, couldn't upload the YouTube. So you may get a double header, people, when it gets uploaded. But yeah, we did a Monday night session, and it's good to do Friday, actually, for a change.
Yeah.
I've caught two birds with one stone.
Is there a pun in there, considering Cheltenham Town are called the Robins?
No, I wasn't that clever. I was just...
Claim it. Claim it.
I'll let you claim that one. No, it's good to be able to look back on Tuesday and also have another game right round the corner as well, isn't it? So
certainly is. Special guest on this evening, Tom. Tom, you've been on, I think, a couple of times before in the past, haven't you? From the UTMP show. Good evening, Tom. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Yeah, good evening. I don't know if there's a little bit of a delay on my video, so I can't quite. I can hear myself from about 10 seconds ago. But yeah, all good. Good to be on. Obviously, I'm a exile, so I don't get to many home games, but I've been to a couple of the recent away games and then watched the game on Tuesday on Tangerine TV as well. So managed to see a few games recently when we've been picking up some form, so it's been good.
I haven't actually got a chance to see the full replay. The cottage I was staying in had a 0.5 megabyte download speed and even worse upload, so I haven't even managed to see that.
Still dial-up, was it?
Yeah, it was like dial-up speeds. I was looking for I was going to do my revision before this for the extended highlights on Tangerine TV, and there wasn't one. So I've literally just seen the goals. But Andy, welcome. All the goals down your end again. Once again.
They know where it's at, don't they? Yeah, we even had a guest, Mr. Ragazzino, in the south the other night.
Did you really?
He wanted to come and have a look what the ultras were up to, and so I booked all the goals at our end, and it was another that corner. They keep running over to us as well.
Are you you sit near the away fans are, don't you?
No, the other side of the goal.
Oh dear.
The other side, behind the goal, but the other side of the goal, yeah. I think Mitch is more towards the middle and we're over there. The players always celebrate our side, so it's always good.
We've had very poor returns in the north this season, goal-wise. These almost all seem to be down the south end.
Well, that's it. That's why it's an extra £10 in the south, you know.
Do you know, Andy, I had visions of you right next to the away fans, you know, you and your boys, like specifically sitting there to give it some to the away fans. But there wouldn't have been much of an opportunity on Cheltenham on Tuesday night. Didn't look to be many there.
Booked the minibus, didn't they, on the way back?
Jeez. I can't believe that Cole isn't baiting the away fans from Block A. Not Block A, whatever the one is right round there, the opposite, isn't it? Block X.
X is it, isn't it? He's banned. He's banned from that side. He's allowed about the middle of the goal, and then we have to the lead that we've got, the extendable lead, pulls him back. Is that me and Sharpie have got this? I've got him on the lead now. Yeah, he's a great lad, Colin. Isn't he?
Oh dear. Right, everybody, let's get on with the show. Just saying hello to a few people in the comments. Evening, David, Peter, Blackpool Seaside, whoever that is. James Scott Associates. That sounds like a law firm almost, Tim. Not
Match ball sponsor.
How are they?
Or goal scoring sponsor. I'm sure Scott will correct us. But yeah, I know Scott, and he's doing a bit of work together at the moment.
Richard's on. Evening, Richard. Took some great photos, didn't he? Richard away at, can't remember, Charlton, I think. Evening Ann, evening MC, and evening Gareth. Right, let's go on with this Friday night show and catch up on Blackpool 3, Cheltenham Town 2. Let's start with the starting lineup. Now, I have actually put a graphic together for the lineup. Get the banner out of the way. Because I wanted to talk about the formation. Obviously, I wasn't there, but this is how FotMob have us of Grimshaw with a... how can you describe? They've obviously got that wrong. So obviously, it was a back five with wing backs of Hamilton, Pennington, Carey, Connolly, and Thompson as a left wing back. Midfield two of Morgan and Dougal. Don't know if that's right, with Dembele playing in the hole with Lavery and Rhodes up front. Tim, let's start with you. A, your thoughts on that lineup, and B, how did we set out in this game? Or is that complete bollocks on that graphic, what you can see before?
I think the biggest surprise, I was a little bit disappointed when I saw the team. I think, firstly, Hubby missing was a bit disappointing. I don't think there was any real... Well, I wasn't aware of any indication that he wasn't going to be fit, but I think he had a bit of a knock from Oxford, or maybe from training. I don't know, but I think he had a...
Not on the bench then, no.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't involved at all. I think he's back in contention for tomorrow, but obviously with it being so consistent this year, that worried me. And then obviously, I'm quite a big Kouassi fan. I thought he should have started, really. But so when I looked at it, I thought, yeah, I can sort of see the Dembele. But I was just a bit worried that we had a bit too many players who weren't going to keep hold of the ball in the way that we needed to. You know, if you sort of worked through the team, and I felt it was important to hold the ball a lot in this game and keep spreading it about. And I just felt there's a few people who tend to give it away a bit too easily. For me, one or two of them in the team, fine, but I think there's probably 3 or 4 there who are probably guilty of that sometimes. So, but generally, I think it was Hubby would no doubt have started if he could have done, and obviously Norburn's not quite right yet. So Morgan had a good effort from the substitutes bench at Oxford, and in fact, all the substitutes started, didn't they? So that was a bit. So I think that might have been a bit of Critchley sort of thinking, right? Well, you know, they've all made it. They've all contributed when they've come on at Oxford and help us get the points. So they deserve a start. You've switched off, John. Muted yourself.
I muted myself to sneeze. Forgot to unmute. Over to you, Tom. Your thoughts on that lineup there, and your thoughts on what Critchley was trying to achieve with this.
Yeah, so he's made 5 changes, hasn't he? Which obviously the previous game he played Oakley Booth and Carey in midfield, and he's put Albie Morgan in, and then Dembele, I think, who didn't play the previous week. So I quite liked that mix, that blend, as Critchley would say, in terms of putting Dembele in with the 2 sat behind him. I obviously like Dougal. Albie Morgan's got a bit to prove. I think that spot next to either Dougal or Norburn is there up for grabs if we keep this sort of structure. So you could argue Oakley Booth could do a job in there. Morgan. You've also got Carey, obviously, who's not quite managed to make the position his own. So I think that's a bone of contention in midfield. But I do like having Dembele in front of the 2, particularly when we're at home trying to take the game to the opposition. So that was good. I'm not convinced on Dom Thompson yet. I know a lot of people have enjoyed seeing him play this season, but I think you've got to be able to trust your defender, and I can't trust him at the minute. You're just judging on the lineup. I was a little bit concerned with, as Tim said, Husband coming out and that left footer sort of going across to support Thompson would have been good. So Connolly, I was a bit concerned there. And the final one's obviously Lavery in for Kouassi, so it's good to see Lavery get a game and a goal as well. So hopefully he can have a run. But great to see anyone, Jordan Rhodes makes any strike partner look good, doesn't he? So I wasn't concerned at all by seeing Lavery in the lineup.
Mm. Andy, your final thoughts before we go on to the game there? Anything to add?
No, just obviously Hubby's been about our player of the year, and that was a massive concern because it's probably the one position we've got where I'm not comfortable with the cover. I don't like Connolly on the left-hand side. Thompson's good from attacking-wise. I take Tom's point about trusting him as a defender, and I'm not quite sure you can. From as an attacking force, he's as good as anybody down that left-hand side, I think. But Morgan did okay. But Dougal, I thought Dougal was good. So he's playing well this season, so we have to keep him in. So it leaves the options short for Morgan in that formation when we've got Norburn fit.
Alan in the comments is saying actually Hubby was rested, which I'd assumed he was injured, and one of the staff said he was hobbling a bit when he came in, which made me think he was injured, but maybe he wasn't. Maybe it was just a case of we're playing bottom of the league and give him a break, because he has played a lot of football. I don't know whether anybody else has heard anything. I missed that in Critchley's comments. I just listened to his post-match before we came on, and obviously it wasn't mentioned there. So unless I missed it. So, but that would be interesting if he's just thought give him a break. I can understand that in some respects. He's probably ever present, isn't he, so far this season?
I personally don't agree with resting players of his caliber and his importance to the team.
Lots of teams that do well rest players during the season, but very rarely do they rest the back four or the back three or whatever. It's more about rotating the midfield and the attacking players. But
yeah, it says on the club website, just looking now, it says James Husband's available for selection, and obviously we've seen that Jordan Gabriel's he did an interview today with Radio Lancashire, so he's back on the grass, as Critchley would say. So there's a couple of positive bits of news there. And it says Ollie Norburn's going to be assessed for the game. So I know we're going to touch on preview of the game tomorrow a little bit later on. But yeah, Husband is available for tomorrow's game. That's
good. Obviously, I can't comment on the game, but Thompson looked like he was involved in a couple of the goals, particularly the first one. But I think a lot of mistakes seem to be stemming in Connolly's area, and he was like in for Husband, wasn't he? So it's a strange decision. It nearly cost us in the end, but we got away with it, didn't we? Right, let's move on to the actual game itself then. Andy, you can kick off. Shane Lavery's goal come in not long after Dembele's hit the bar. Thompson, I think he's put the ball in, hasn't he? Kind of recovered from a miscontrol of the ball, but done brilliantly to recover.
Miscontrolled it, did a pirouette. There you go. Do I get a that's up there with the Sir Keir's did a little pirouette and then that foxed the defender and put it over, didn't he? Rhodes did really well at the back post under pressure and got the nod back, and Lavery just came in between two defenders, and the defenders didn't want to. No, the defenders don't want to touch it because they would just score an own goal, and so Lavery's got a free hit really, and just nodded it in, didn't he? And delighted the south end of the ground.
I think even you could have put that in, Tim. Even in your
even my dodgy hammy, I might be able to stretch for that one
with your pinged hamstring.
I just go back to Dembele. I mean, I thought, how the hell did he miss when I watched it from the far side? So I was don't get the best of views, but
the non-scoring side of the ground, Tim.
Yeah, but I've got to say, I watched it back, and I thought he had loads of time just to stroke it in. I don't think he quite had as much time as I originally thought. So I thought he showed a sharp turn of pace and to beat his man. And with hindsight, he was a bit unlucky with that one.
It felt to us down south as though he just hit it too hard. He just tried to hit it too hard.
That was what I thought, Andy. My first thought, why the hell has he wellied that when all he needed to do was stroke it in? But I said the replay, having seen the replay, I could I'm a bit more forgiving of it. I thought it was a big mistake the first time round.
Maybe that's his style because he did it at Charlton away, didn't he? He absolutely rifled it and he went barring in, and that was obviously a sublime finish. But clearly, he's got a tendency to smash the ball when he's through. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he's got a different type of finish. Obviously, he scored the third one on the night as well, which was a rifle from outside the box. But yeah, he's got a good strike on him, but sadly got that one just a bit wrong.
Okay, we've gone 2-0 up. Andy, come to you again. Jordan Rhodes has headed a Morgan free kick in. The finish was very similar to that one he's chested in. Was it against? Was it a bit 3-0?
I literally turned around to Carl about a couple of minutes before it and said, Rhodes is 5 minutes ahead of the game here. He's just like, at least, he feels like he's a couple of passes ahead at least of the rest of the players. He understands what's going to happen and he gets himself into the position to make a run. And sometimes they don't see him and sometimes they do. But his awareness is absolutely exemplary and he's just, he seems to imagine things are going to happen, and sometimes they do, and he's in the right place, and he's hit the free kick, hasn't it? It's taken a deflection off a Cheltenham player, and then into where he was standing, and he's just nodded it in, hasn't he? He's just beautiful. He's just good, isn't he? Awareness is fantastic.
It was actually a very good header, wasn't it? I mean, when you watch it back, I think the first things first, nobody had any doubt that he meant it. Where I think if it'd been any other player, your initial reaction was, did he mean that or did he just hit him? But you knew straight away it was intentional. And second, when you watch it back, it was actually very quick reactions and a very good header to boot because Morgan had hit the backside, I think, of a Cheltenham player, and it had spun funnily into the box, and he was just on it, wasn't he? Incredible.
I'd be interested to know. I know Kevin Phillips comes to mind as one in my era of the last 23 years, but going back a bit further, I'd be interested to know if there's anyone that comes to mind that's got such a natural goal scorer that just knows where the ball's going to land before it even goes in a tangerine shirt. There's not many, certainly in the last 20, 30 years, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, I mean, Eamon O'Keefe had a very rich vein of form over a relatively short period before he got injured. But he was more scoring out the box or penalties. He was playing like attacking midfield, so not exactly like for like. And then you had your David Bamber, he was
not the same either, was he?
No, he was just a big centre forward, mainly scored with his head.
Would someone like
think of one?
Someone like Dickov or something like that?
He wasn't He wasn't prolific, though, was he?
No.
Scott Taylor, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, to me, he's a class. He's clearly, without a shadow of a doubt, a division above. But the problem is, because of the way the teams play in the Championship, they rarely play two up front, and so I think he's fallen victim to the style of play that you see in the Championship, which doesn't suit him. Tony Ellis.
Yeah, a few suggestions coming in. Rich Ansell said Scott Taylor. Like me, Andy Morrell. Tony Ellis. Again, he was different though, wasn't he? He was always cut in and shoot, wasn't he? Yeah, Keegan Parker. One name that is missing from this list that everyone has forgotten. James Beattie.
Of course. How can you forget?
He was good at it in the casino next door. I don't know about.
I think he's unique, isn't he, Rhodes? I think, Tom, it's a hard question to ask. I don't think we have any Had anyone similar?
That's why I asked it. Yeah, I mean, Kevin Phillips is the obvious one, isn't he? Because his movement was unbelievable. It's not often we get the privilege to see someone that's such a natural striker. Like a lot of football fans in the Premier League and the top ends of the Championship might have seen that quite frequently. But for us, we've normally got a player who would having to polish up, or he's coming through, or he's on the way down on the other side. So it's good to see him. I know he's 33, but he's clearly still got a lot to give at this level. So yeah, we should just enjoy while we can.
I think he's played so little football in the last 5 or 6 years that you might actually find he's got a good 2 or 3 years left in him. Yeah, I would have thought.
Yeah,
he's not.
Yeah, he's not scored. He's scored 9 now, hasn't he? He's not scored 9 in a season since 2016, and then if you go a season before that for double figures, and he should get that probably tomorrow. So we're talking 2016, but since he last had such a prolific run of form for a season, so. And you might get recalled in January, and he's already had his best season by that time. So, he's absolutely firing on all cylinders, and he must be loving it as well. So hopefully we can keep him a little bit longer than January. But even if he goes, even if we've only got a couple of months with him, he'll have 20 in the league, won't he, by that time? So we can send him back and get someone else in at that point.
And you made a point there, Tom, and I think that's an interesting point of how he must be enjoying it, and how he must love it now that his first choice he's playing every week. He's scoring goals. He looks full of confidence. He must be walking around with a smile on his face and thinking, "I've forgot these days that happened." Because he's just not had it for, what you're saying there, 5 or 6 years.
Longer than that, yeah. 7 or 8, I think.
Our best hope is that Huddersfield get somewhere mid-table.
Let's hope they keep Darren Moore. I think, Tim. I think that's the most personal.
And he can't play. It's a little bit like we had with Bowler. He can only play for us or them. He can't go anywhere else. So. That's so they're not going to sell him to anybody else. Whether we've got the appetite to spend, or whether we'd prefer just try and keep him and then try and do a deal at the end of the season if one's to be done, I don't know. But he doesn't want to be going down south. I don't get the impression. I'm not quite sure where he lives, but I know he travels in with O'Donnell, doesn't he? I think, and he's sort of East Lancs way. So, again, we go back to that interview, which I think we spoke about on Monday night. A lot of people have obviously not seen it for the reasons I mentioned, but, he's talked about his children in tangerine kits and loving being involved and loving being able to pass on some of his experience and knowledge as well. So someone like Kouassi and even Lavery are going to come on in spades with somebody of his experience, talking to them through a game. I've seen him doing it as well. I've seen him turn to Dembele and say things to Dembele, and it's all good, isn't it?
It feels like having a coach on the pitch.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me. It feels like, and he's not, but it feels that way. And like he looks as though he's got so much to give in that way to bring on the younger lads around him. Really good. He's been a massive positive to us.
South Shore Seasiders says Huddersfield should do the right thing and let him terminate in the last 6 months of his contract and join us in January. Maybe they will.
How many times in football does people do the right thing? Rarely.
And they'll have their fans giving it, particularly if they're right near the bottom at that point. Their fans will be saying, "Won't they get him back?" And he can maybe do something for us. But the reality is, he'll be on the bench, won't he? And he'll be back getting 15 minutes here and 20 minutes there, which I think he's probably heartily sick of after the last 3 or 4 years.
Well, the Huddersfield fan that's a member at work, and he said exactly this I said it when he signed, that all he said is, "You create chances and he'll score," right? But he doesn't do well playing up on his own, and a lot of the Championship teams are either 4-3-3, 4-5-1, these sort of things. So invariably he is up front on his own out of necessity, because Huddersfield have got a lot of the by the nature of the beast, they're not going to be on the front foot in games a lot of the time. And so they want someone maybe quick up front or something like this, and he's not quick, is he? He's just
Dave
very
Whiteside
smart.
said they do play with a 2. I don't know.
Really? I don't know.
I'll do a bit of research while we talk about the next item then.
Yeah, I've just been looking at the last couple of games, and they play the same formation as us, but they've got a lad from the youth team up front, and then a guy called Bergzorg, who I've never heard of before. So looks like they might need a striker, to be fair. But it was Warnock, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Warnock that said he didn't want him in the summer, wasn't it? And they've obviously put more in since then. So there's a chance he might want to have a look at him in January. But
Moore got rid of him when he was at Sheffield Wednesday, didn't he? So
yeah.
He's got to want to go. They're going to have a discussion with him, and ultimately, if they say you're coming back, he's going back, isn't he? But he also, if they have a discussion and he says, I don't want to come back, like, what are they left with? They don't want an unhappy player in their predicament where they're fighting relegation. They'd rather have everyone pulling in the right direction. So it'd be interesting to see how he feels and in any discussions. But ultimately, if they say you're coming back, then he's got to go, hasn't he? He's under contract.
A bit like a Tom Tribal situation almost.
Correct.
Time will tell. So I've read, I've not seen this, that 5 minutes after we went 2-0 up, we had a disallowed goal from Jordan Rhodes himself. A foul on the keeper, apparently. Can anyone elaborate on what happened there? Andy, Tim shaking his head. Obviously, at the goal scoring end, our man on the streets. What can you tell us about that?
Certainly. It was very clearly in front of me, John. On my side of the goal as well. Basically, Rhodes jumped for the header and the keeper jumped into him and got hurt. Well, he didn't get hurt. He was just playing at being hurt. And that was it. It's ridiculous. It was a ridiculous decision. It was a goal. Simple.
I remember it now, to be fair. It's coming back from that long distance view I had of it.
With your binoculars.
No,
right.
not binoculars. Sakir has opera glasses, Andy.
Opera glasses. Right, there you go. But anyway, Rhodes jumped, clean as a whistle for the ball, got the ball, the goalie missed it. He went flapping up for it. In Chris Maxwell-esque he was when he went for it. The keeper, Rhodes headed it in. All good. I mean, Rhodes was pretty sort of okay about it, to be honest. You know, he was showing the human side that the keeper was saying he was hurt and things like that. Load of rubbish.
Did the keeper go down playing dead almost?
Well,
sort of lay it on.
Well, I had it on with the keeper a little bit because he was wasting time in the first minute, right? And so we had to have a little chat, me and the keeper, and I said, "What's going to happen at the end of the game when you're losing and you want to chase every last minute? And what's he doing in the last? Do you see him in the last 5 minutes? Oh my God, I've never seen someone sprint so fast. Like he was quicker than CJ, their keeper. He was running round." Like trying to get the ball and take free kicks quick, and literally in the first minute, he was wasting time.
What did he say to you, Andy, in reply to your question?
He decided that no comment was
what did Luke Southwood say to you, Andy?
He decided that no comment was better than getting into an argument with the idiot, and so. I didn't get a rise.
Force definitely wasn't with Luke, as he conceded a third goal on 41 minutes.
At the south end.
At the goal scoring end again, Karamoko, Dembele. Tom, do you want to come in on this? As you were saying, he's been looking to smash things, and he certainly smashed this. How can you describe it? A falling half volley?
Yeah, I feel like CJ did well to get in. What I remember, he beat his man, didn't he, and cut in and then put it across. And it was looking dangerous, and then the defender managed to clear it. And then Dembele, the ball, I think it went to Morgan, and he played it to Dembele, and the chance looked like it was about to go, and he reached, and I think he had both feet up in the air and managed to almost scissor kick it really into the far corner. Really good finish. And he hit the deck as he hit it. So yeah, really good goal.
Hasn't got far to go though, has he? So probably didn't hurt him.
Yeah, he's really good technically though, isn't he? I know he looks like he's about 15 or something, and he's been 15 for the last 5 years, I think. But yeah, he's very good technically. He's really good at sort of the ball doesn't move and he changes his position and he'll lure the defender in and beat him. So he's really exciting to watch, and I think that's his second goal in 7 games. So, yeah, he's dangerous and he's creating chances and scoring as well. Because a lot of them have come off the bench as well. I don't know how many minutes he's played this season, but I'd expect him to play tomorrow after the form he's been in so far.
Tim, he's certainly adding a different. He adds a different dimension to what we've got already. I think he complements the team very well, and he just adds that little bit of. Unpredictability, I think what we've got to be prepared for when Dembele plays, and I think this is probably ultimately when we get to the second half why it comes off, is that we will give the ball away a lot when he's on the ball, but we're doing that because we're trying to do things, and he's trying to do things, and he's taking risks rather than just keeping possession. And one of our big criticisms of Blackpool, particularly in the first few games, was that we were possession heavy and risk averse, weren't we? We didn't take any risks at all, and we wanted Critch to take the handbrake off. And I think when he plays Dembele, he's taken the handbrake off and given the accelerator a nice big squeeze at the same time as well. So, he brings something different. I don't think he'd be a player for every single game. I think when we want to keep hold of the ball, he'll be withdrawn. But he's the type of player who can make a massive difference, particularly in those tight games when we're playing teams in and around us near the top. He can unlock defences, and he arguably should have scored that first one, but he more than made up for it with the second. But it was interesting. After 60 minutes or something, he gets withdrawn, and I think that's because, as we're going to go on to discuss, Critch wanted to keep possession more, and so that's the conundrum you're going to have when you play him, when you play and how you play him. But he's an incredible talent, and I think it's great that Dougal's playing as well as he is at the moment, because I think he's able to provide a lot of defensive cover and almost give Dembele a free role. You don't see Dembele doing a lot of tracking back and defending. I'm not saying he never does it, because I'm sure he will do if he's the closest man. He'll make an effort, but he's really there as a free man. And I noticed particularly at Oxford on Saturday that CJ was almost like looking just to give the ball to him at every opportunity, which was interesting.
Do you not feel like he's either on for the first hour or on for the last half an hour?
Yeah,
and they in some games where we're away and we've got to keep the game tighter for longer, that he might find himself on the bench and then unleashed in the last half an hour or so. But also, I see at home that he's going to get more game time at home. But did Critchley the other night think like they're a weaker opponent, so we're going to give him a start?
I think you're on something there, and I think I can see in the big games him being a sub, but a great impact sub.
Yeah.
And I think if Hubby was rested a little bit on Tuesday night, again, I think Critchley probably thought it was going to be a little bit easier than it ultimately ended up being, and it should have been, to be fair. If we arguably 3-0 didn't flatter us at half-time by any stretch of the imagination, and obviously as we're going to talk, we managed to cock that up a bit, but going into half time, last couple of minutes, we were almost on cruise control, weren't we?
By the way, did anyone see the lineups at the start? You know, when we were doing the minute silence for Bobby Charlton, and so we were all lined up, and Dembele stood on the end, and he looks like the 4'3" kid on the end. It's hilarious how they looked up. It's like
one of the
apart
mascots.
from being 15, honestly, if you wouldn't have been surprised. You wouldn't have been surprised.
Okay, Tom, as Tim mentioned, it should have been 3-0 at half time. It wasn't. Not the best angle on TV to see the offside. So, what was your thoughts on that goal? Well, very well taken by Goodwin.
Yeah, again, I saw it on Tangerine TV, so it was a long ball from the other half, so you couldn't see. All the players were appealing for offside, and Casey, I watched it back. Casey didn't look like he actually knew the striker was there because he tried to sort of win it and realised he was second to the ball by that point. So really good finish from him when he gets in that position, and it took the wind out of our sails. You know, you're texting all your mates saying we're going to win the league, and 3 points, and all of a sudden you're thinking, not a great time to concede a goal. But I was confident that that'd give us, you think, Critchley will tell them to be careful and we'll come out in the second half with a bit more vigour. But obviously, as we'll come on to, that wasn't really the case. But a bit of a poor goal to concede, but a very tidy finish from the striker.
Tim, obviously you're living in the north, I guess, so you couldn't really.
I saw that one.
See it. Oh, did you? Go on.
Yeah. It was
were you about to get up to the Moretti Lounge, were you?
I was strolling up there at the time, so. I did see
the general consensus in the ground was it was offside.
Yeah, I mean, I think those in the West who were in line with it were basically saying it was blatantly offside. But if I'm honest, I wasn't thinking that when the goal came in. I just thought, what a great finish, because he really he got his angles 100% on that one, and Grim didn't really give Grim much chance with it. I do think our defence spent too long with their hands in the air, claiming offside rather than playing to the whistle. And perhaps if we had played the whistle, we might have been able to, get a challenge in on him, or at least put him under some pressure, rather than effectively giving him a free shot at goal. But so it's I think it just took the edge off, or it was otherwise an exemplary half of football, really, from our perspective. And I think.
So what went wrong in the second half then?
Well, they made 4 subs, didn't they? I mean, he was the brave their manager, and I think I'd like to have listened to his halftime team talk, because it was like chalk and cheese. All of a sudden, they were pressing, and they were putting themselves about and looking at, to be fair, for most of that half, for me, looked the better side. Every credit to him.
So up until the substitutions on 68 minutes of Carey and Kwasi, Falavi and Dembele, did we do anything of note in that period up until the 2 subs? Andy, you're shaking your head.
I just thought you saw the 2 sides of Blackpool. The one that excites us and the one that worries the hell out of us. And either side of half time.
I'm desperately trying to think of a chance we had during that period, and I can't. I generally can't really remember one. Somebody in the comments, I mean, I think Luke says CJ made some good runs. We weren't completely on the defensive, but we didn't seem to have any end product, and I don't recall us testing the keeper in that period leading up to the substitutions, where they started having a lot of good, what I thought was good possession, not just possession, but good possession, where they were actually, they most certainly, they upped their tempo and were closing us down far quicker than they've been doing in the first half. The substitutions definitely made a difference.
I would second that, and I'd say that their manager definitely saw a way to get at us a little bit, and you've got to give them every credit for that, and their players for turning things around from 3-0 down. You've got to appreciate that. Yeah, but anyway, I'll also thank Raggy for his very nice comments about the flowers that I picked this morning.
They look plastic to me, them, Andy.
They are.
So, Tom, do you think this is a combination of us, our players playing within themselves, or they've been taught to do that, or just retain the ball from Critchley, or is it a case of being outthought by what's his name, Darryl Clark, with his halftime
Well,
team?
they weren't all over us. They weren't creating chances themselves. It was a dead rubber really for half an hour. I thought only really got going. But I think the first thing I remember happening in the second half was them scoring the second. I'd honestly say that I might not have been concentrating as much, but as I was in the first half. But yeah, I honestly can't remember anything. So with that in mind, I would say that we just tried to kill the game. It's a shame that we didn't go at it and try and score the fourth and kill them off. I would have liked to have seen that. I'm sure Critchley would have liked to have seen that. I don't think his instruction was go out there and jog about for a bit and kill the game. I'm sure he was expecting a bit more, and they were all just. I think he even said in his post-match comments the lost focus, particularly with the 2 goals. But I think he was expecting a bit more from him in the second half, and he was really disappointed with that performance overall. So, yeah, I imagine they get a bit of a rollicking after full time. But he was also saying, you got to appreciate the positives, and we won the game. It's 3 points. So I'd be interested to see behind closed doors what Critchley was like. But I'm sure he'll have had some words this week about concentration. After the Charlton situation, dropping points, and then you've seen it again where we've conceded 2 sloppy goals. So it's a reminder in it to have that consistency over 90 minutes, which will come, I think, when the team get going. But yeah, we've not seen it so far this season.
I went into the Arndale after the game, and rarely have I ever seen us win a game and our supporters be so deflated. And that's how I felt. I think that's how I felt. I think that's how a lot of people felt. But you had to remember, as Tom said, that we got 3 points. And even through the bad performances, if you give us bad performances and we get 3 points, we'll take that, and hopefully they'll be better. But for the first half an hour, was only one team in the game, really, wasn't there?
Their second goal was really weird, wasn't it? Because I think Pennington got out jumped, but it looked like the ball had gone. Again, it was down your end, wasn't it? So yeah. It looked like the ball had gone too far and was going out, and the forward just sticks his foot out and just seemed to catch everybody by surprise,
including Grimshaw.
Well, I've looked back on the replays and I'm thinking, when he touches it, I'm thinking, well, that's going out. That's going to hit the side netting. And then all of a sudden it's in the back of the net.
He's hit Grimshaw and gone in.
Right.
He's a known goal. That.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, I think and then you're thinking, I used to have a moniker on AVFT, which was Remember Gillingham, where we're 3-0 up with 8 minutes to go and drew 3 each. And I thought, no, we can't, can we? We can't. But, if anybody was going to score again, it was going to be them, because we were like on tenterhooks at that point, I thought, weren't we? And I've got to say, and I've got to, I'm really rating him. Kouassi, when he comes on, I mean, what a beast. But what did he have to do to get a free kick? Because their defenders of midfield were all over him, fouling him left, right, and centre, basically pretending they were in the England scrum, I think, against South Africa on Saturday night, and they were just basically wrestling him to the floor. And the ref just didn't want to give him a free kick, but he was like a caged lion. He was just like so much power and strength when he's let loose. I was so impressed with his contribution. He was like a battering ram for us, and did really well at keeping it in the corners and keeping possession. And I think he's coming on leaps and bounds.
Well, a win's a win, isn't it? 2 wins on the bounce, and we've scored 3 goals at home last 2 games as well. So reasons to be cheerful, and up into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's 14 points from the last 7, isn't it? Which is automatic promotion form. So we're coming into our stride. I'm not saying that's necessarily going to last, but if you do look at the fixtures, if you're thinking 2 points a game, a couple of home games and a couple of winnable away ones, in it. So 2 wins and 2 draws out of the next 4, then we keep marching on, don't we? That's what is it? So we've got Peterborough at home tomorrow, and then it's Bolton away, Shrewsbury at home.
We've also got Fleetwood. We've got Fleetwood in the middle as well.
Fleetwood's on 1st of November.
Yeah, so Peterborough home, Fleetwood away, Bolton away, Shrewsbury at home. You fancy us to win a couple of them and get a couple of draws, wouldn't you? So the run may continue, but yeah, I say that, and you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Probably tomorrow is actually one of the toughest game out of the 4. But yeah, this league is quite weak in my opinion. So if you're picking up points, suddenly you think you're going to keep picking up points, and then if you lose a couple, then you don't know where the next win's coming from, do you? So take each game as it comes. But yeah, we're in good form.
So a quick look at the momentum graph before we move on. Is that indicative of
I'd say
how the game
fair.
played out?
Yeah, definitely.
We had a bit of a spell around the beginning of the second half, but looked like it was all Cheltenham.
Yeah.
So is there anything to worry about in the fact that we seem to play? We've not played an entire game well for 90 minutes, have we? We've never, from start to finish. I think we've played a lot of games very well in one half or portions of game, but we've never bossed a game for the whole 90 minutes. Obviously, that's unrealistic, but you'd expect us to go ahead and
they can be quite short
because they've only scored 2 goals all season prior to that, and they've scored 2 against us.
We're quite short, real chalk and cheese performances, though, aren't they? Even going right back to Burton, the first game of the season, where we had a great first 20, 25 minutes and then petered out. Oxford, we were awful in the first half against Oxford, but then very good in the second half, and it is difficult to quite put your finger on it as to what's causing it. But I think you're right, John. I think that you can almost go through every single fixture and sort of show that type of demographic. And you've seen from that the chart you just put up then, it's quite stark as well, isn't it? It's all it seems to almost all or nothing.
Yeah, is that a worry?
The worrying part of it, if you look at the 3rd goal onwards, then we've barely done anything, have we? After it's gone 3-0, so it is worrying, but it's something Critchley will be working on. I think based on his time last time and just how seasons tend to work, you come into your stride, don't you? He's got a lot of new players in. He's trying to get them all playing together and playing the new formation, and you strengthen in January. And then by the back end of the season, like last time, we had a great run where we were putting in performances week in, week out, changing the team, consistent for 90 minutes. But we're not at that point yet. And, we've come quite a long way. If you think from the first 5 games to where we are now, you can see the performances are starting to come and the moments in games are starting to come. But the next step for us, obviously, is to do that over 90 minutes, which I'm sure we're working to. But we will, to be fair, tomorrow will be a good test because that's when we will need to perform for 90 minutes because Peterborough are a good side and they score goals, don't they? So, yeah, I'll be interested to see how we perform in that one.
Okay, let's move on to the Posh game tomorrow then. Obviously, we ain't got time to do all the player ratings and all that other gubbins because we're doing a bit of a preview as well. Same as Tom just said, it's going to be a tough game against Peterborough tomorrow.
Yeah, probably one of our toughest tests of the season, probably along with Oxford last week. It's going to be a case of showing are we where we need to be, which is where we can mix it with the best in the division. And we showed that last Saturday, I think, albeit in fits and starts. And that where we're at home, I want to see us grasp the nettle and have a right good go at the opposition and make them worry about all. I know we're going to talk. We'll be talking about what team we want shortly, but I think we've got to play the informed players, and we've got to show the right blend of defensive solidity, midfield steel and cutting edge up front. And obviously, it's Critch's job to find that blend, and it's got to be positive. For me, it's got to be positive. We can't just be thinking too much about Peterborough. I saw some comments about their forum which suggested there might be a couple of players down for tomorrow, which hopefully that's right, because that might give us a little bit of an edge. Interest, and I think if there's any chance of Norburn being fit, he'll want to play. So, I'm looking forward to it. To be fair, it's probably the game I'm looking forward to the most this season so far of the home games.
Andy, we could leapfrog Peterborough if we win tomorrow. I had a quick look at the league table and almost Bolton. If they lose and there's a 2-goal swing, it could put us up into the heady heights of 5th, 4th position, which it's pretty amazing considering how poorly we started this season. So credit to Neil Critchley for that.
Credit, yeah, but we're Blackpool, and every time we get our hopes up, Mr. Doom comes round the corner. So I'm loath to get too carried away, and I won't get too carried away. To me, this is just trying to get 3 points on the way to trying to get towards the playoffs. That's it, and hopefully a bit further than that.
Tom, over to you then. Let's talk quickly about Peterborough. In a similar vein of form to us, I was looking back at the form table. 1-3, drawn 2, so they're unbeaten in 5 like we are. So,
yeah.
You said you expect a tough game. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, well,
know a bit more about the other teams than we do.
Well, if you look at the top 6, the key thing that stands out to me is the goal score. We've got 19. Everyone else is well into the 20s. Barnsley have scored 29. I know they had that amazing first day, but we need to build on that. 19 goals in 14 games isn't quite enough, is it? So that shows the fine margins. Whereas if you compare Peterborough all the time over Darren McAntony's reign, he holds them to scoring goals and entertaining. So they're going to come at us, aren't they? Which I'd expect, to be honest, it's going to be one of them games where we let them have a lot of the ball and then we spring on the break, even though we're the home team, which has happened a couple of times this season where we've been at home, and we seem to. I quite like that versus the times when we've got to break teams down and they're sitting back and putting 10 behind the ball. So yeah, I'm expecting it to be a really tasty game. That game from a couple of years ago, I think it might have been under Grayson, comes to mind. I think it was 4-3. We must have played them in the promotion year, which I can't quite remember now, but we always got tasty games against them.
Yeah.
Obviously, remember the away one when we got promoted and Medine was messing about in the corner and we beat them there, didn't we? But yeah, we always have a good run in with Peter, but it's always a thriller of a game.
Tim, we always seem to, as Tom said, I think last 2 games have been 3-1. They hammer us. Was it 5-0 last time? That was Neil Critchley's last game in charge in his previous reign. Do you think that'll be working in his head in any way, shape or form to maybe atone for that error, atone for that defeat?
I don't think he'd be worried about that game specifically. If I've got concerns about Neil, it is that he overthinks the opposition rather than thinking about, he worries about stopping them more than taking the game to them. So, I want to see that positive outlook, because I think we pick the right team and we win the game. I have my idea what that team is, but I'm sure it's not the same as his. But he's the one that gets paid to do it, and hopefully he's going to make it happen tomorrow. This is. We're now reaching the point where we should, I've said before, we've probably 4 or 5 points down on where we should be because of overly negative tactics that we've used in some games. And I want to see that trend reversed where we actually go out and win. And if we just sit back and try and contain, my concern is that they will score and then we're chasing the game. But I think Tom's point, nevertheless, is a good one. I think, if we can see possession in the right areas, and let them come at us a bit, then I think that creates the space for us. We did that against Wigan very, very well. And if I'm looking for a tactic to adopt, it's probably close to the Wigan, where let them mess around in their own half, press when they come into ours, and then hopefully there's a bit of space for the likes of CJ. I'm not sure Dembele's going to start, but if Dembele does start, the likes of him and CJ to get behind. I'm also a little surprised that Dale didn't feature on Tuesday. Again, might be a case of resting. Again, he's been through a traumatic time and nevertheless carried on playing, hasn't he? But it's there's some interesting selection decisions to make for me.
Just one final point on tomorrow. If you've got any worries whatsoever, stop worrying, because it's Darren Ferguson managing in the other dugout. So I think Neil Critchley's got his number, and he I would like to think we're a bit of a bogey team for Darren Ferguson. So hopefully that continues as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We always seem to have his number, don't we? Which is always great to see. Right, before we go, let's pick our team that is going to beat Peterborough. So, Tim, you say we want to go on the front foot and let them worry about us. Tom, you're saying let's contain them somewhat first. So this will be an interesting pick.
I think the layout, the formation is as presented there, though, isn't it? Whichever players we slot into those positions.
Okay, let's kick it off then with Grimmy's obviously going in. Jimmy Husband's back, straight back in, left
100%.
Left of the back three. Yeah. Centre half.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because Casey's been a little bit ropey, I'd say. I've been loving him first sort of 5-6 games. Barnsley away was a colossus at the back, but
Carey.
Carey,
Casey, you're talking. Sorry,
yeah, Ollie Casey.
I've got mixed up. Sorry.
Yeah,
hang on a minute, Tom. I'll just mute Andy while you're talking. There you go.
Yeah, Casey. So he's been at fault for a couple of goals. I think Charlton away, he's obviously tried to take the man on the ball, I think, and he's not taken either, and he's cost us a little bit. And then he was at fault for one of the goals, I thought, on Tuesday night. So, yeah, what I'm trying to say is there's an argument to put Marv back in, or there's an argument to play Connolly there again, isn't there? So, it is
just I don't see it Pateta in the three, though, do you?
Well,
if we're going to stick with a three at the back, I don't see it Pateta in the middle of that three.
What about on the other side?
Well, I know personally, I don't think the back three have done anything that would justify any of the three of them being dropped. I mean, Jimmy's undroppable.
Hang on a minute, Tim. What about conceding 2 goals against Cheltenham?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure.
That's something. I'd say that's against a team that's only scored 2 goals all season. I'd say that's something to deserve.
To be fair, one of them was offside and one of them was an own goal.
Well, we've already dropped Connolly, haven't we? So that's 1 gone. So you could argue there's 2. You might keep 2 of the 3 the same. I don't know, but it's not going to be the same back 3.
I just think it's Casey and Pennington all day long.
I agree.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
I think Casey's been bloody good, really, and Pennington. We look better with Pennington in the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's more Marv, isn't it, for that position?
Can you deal with my OCD and put Casey in the middle and Pennington on the right, please?
Go on. While I'm doing that, pick the right and left wing backs, gents.
What should happen? Or
I think CJ's
our team, Andy. Our team.
CJ's nailed on the right, isn't he? So, assuming putting aside the arguments about which side he should be on.
What about the dog? Where does the dog think CJ should play, left or right? 1 bark for left, 2 for right.
The dog's name's Kenny Dougal, by the way. And Kenny Dougal says anyone who can run fast can play on whichever side. On the right side.
Well, I don't think we're dropping CJ, are we? Especially after the way he's been playing.
Yeah, the decision here is Thompson or Dale, isn't it? On the left.
Yeah, Dale all day for me.
I'm starting to like Thompson, you know.
I don't think he played badly on Tuesday, but I think Dale's a better defender.
It's going to be very interesting with these fullback positions.
Is he, Tim? Is he?
Well,
Sorry,
I think he's a better defender than Thompson. I think Thompson has a tendency to lose. I don't know. I just think Dale's been our best left-sided wing back this season by a country mile. I think he was just. I suspect he may well have just been rested on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Go on, Tom. You were saying.
Just interesting that Lyons and Gabriel are back in training, aren't they? So in 4 to 6 weeks, we could have a real selection headache on our hands. You're thinking Hamilton, Dale.
Well, Lyons was on the subs bench on Tuesday night, wasn't
he? Yeah. But more thinking of Gabriel being a few weeks away. But yeah, there's only 2 of them can get in unless you play Dale in central positions like where Dembele was. But yeah, in terms of tomorrow, I'd say Dale and Hamilton's pretty much guaranteed.
We all going with that. Our team, remember what we want.
Yeah. I do think Critchley had his eye on Saturday with some of the selections. I think Davies made the point Dale was on the bench, and yeah, he was, but I think he just left him off on the basis that he had in mind that it's a long season, isn't it? And we've got another game coming up on Wednesday night next week, so it is very much a case of I think you've got to use the squad. And perhaps we underestimated Cheltenham a little bit.
I don't think Dale's good at defensive duties, though. Case in point, Oxford away, when he just let that Lee run into the box past him. I don't think he's attuned to that role. On that basis, I'm picking Dom Thompson. But I'll go with the majority.
I don't think Thompson can defend either, to be honest.
I think Dale is a more reliable defender than Thompson. I think that's what we're alluding to.
And he's a better attacking threat as well.
What if we went for Lyons then on the left?
We've done that. We've done that already, and Critchley made a mug of us.
Or Lyons on the right and CJ on the left then.
I'm not sure Lyons has played enough football in recent weeks to get the shirt on Saturday for me. I think he needs to come off the subs bench and have a couple of good half hours.
Yeah, I agree.
So
anyway, my vote goes to Thompson. Tim,
Dale,
Andy,
Dale,
Tom,
Dale.
Motion carried. You're all idiots.
Just quickly, I do think it'll be interesting in the FA Cup. Is it next week, the FA Cup, or the week after? That'll be a good run out for Lions and a few of the others. Hopefully after that, we'll have a few more decisions to make.
Joseph, anywhere near getting...
Yes, he's on the grass. It's another one on the grass.
What if he can make it?
They seem to be like, we're 8 weeks away when they get on the grass. I just don't... We seem to be so far away.
There should be a rule behind being on the grass, sort of a measure of how long between being on the grass is to when you're actually ready to start again. So when you're on the grass, it's like another month to go, really, isn't it?
Of course, Raggy's conspiracy theory is that Joseph is never going to play for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
You could probably troll back through Critchley's quotes, couldn't you, and find on the grass and then work out how long it was before they played, and you could probably do some data around that, but someone needs to have too much time on that. It's probably a job for Connor, and it used to be on the pod. So.
Yeah, go. Or Mitch seems to be running with that baton now, doesn't he? Of our new stato,
super stat.
Right, so CJ's going in there as a right wing back. Okay, midfield. Obviously, Ollie Norburn's back, facing his old team. He'll be wanting to put a performance in, so I think it's pretty hard to argue against his inclusion.
Yeah, it'd only be injury, I think, that kept him out.
We're all in agreement there?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
He ain't dropping King Kenny at the moment the way he's playing, are we?
No, he's up there with Husband for me at the moment as the most consistent performer.
Yeah, he's good at this level.
And he scored 2 goals already. I've always said this. If you ever get in the ground early and watch the pre-match warm-ups, he is the cleanest, most accurate striker of the ball when doing the shooting. So I was surprised at how few goals he scored last season. So hopefully that's going to improve. Right, this is going to be a tough one. Who are we playing in there with them?
I'd go for Caddy again, Karamoko.
I think he's going to. I'm 50-50 on whether I'd start him.
Let's assume that number 7 is kind of playing off in front of those two and kind of behind the strikers.
Yeah. I'm going to go. I think he deserves to start based on his contribution at Oxford and on Tuesday night. I
don't think Carey's doing enough to earn that shirt.
Well, I think that comes into it, doesn't it? I think Critchley's good. I know it's our team, but Critchley's going to play Carey if he wants to keep the ball, and he's going to play Dembele if he wants to win. If he's going to take a chance, and my always concern with Critchley is he's too conservative, but I think Dembele should start. And again, just in front of those two, and see what he can do. If it doesn't work, he can always make a change.
Yeah, that gets my vote, Andy.
He'd probably get my vote if I was looking to go out and make the game after about, really attack them for the first 20 minutes. But I think Critchley will do that? I don't. I think he'll play Carey. But I can understand why. I do understand why.
Who do you want then?
But I'd go Dembele.
4 there.
Because what you have got, if assuming Norburn's fit, what you have got there, you've got a defensive 5, effectively defensive 5 with Norburn and Dougal, which really means that your Dale and your CJs can really push on with Dembele and effectively, he looks defensive. But Dale and Hamilton are going to be ahead of Norburn and Dougal for most of the time.
Okay. Jordan Rhodes is definitely going in. No debate there.
I think that's the biggest cert out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost the biggest shoe in his Grimmy.
Finally, who are we playing up with him? My vote.
Here's the debate.
I like Kouassi with him because I always like a big unit up there. I think he adds an extra dimension, gives us the out ball when we need it. And I think Rhodes can do. I think he'll play better with a physical presence with him, even better than he is. So Kouassi, flag in the sand for me. Tom?
My only criticism of Kouassi, who I think has been unbelievable, is his pace. I think he's a little bit slow from what I've seen of him. So with Rhodes, you've not got much movement up there, have you? So it does depend if you put in Karamoko in. If you've got Carey in there, which we haven't, then you might be more likely to go for Lavery. But yeah, with Karamoko in, I'm happy enough with Kouassi. I think it's harsh on Lavery because he did score the other night, but he didn't give much in the game, did he? I don't remember him doing a lot apart from his goal, which was from about 2 yards out. So yeah, I'd probably just about go Kouassi.
2 for Kouassi then. Tim?
The biggest shout out ever for Kouassi, I think. The only time I've not really seen him and Rhodes play that well together was Oxford in the first half. And in that game, I actually blamed the balls that were coming in, which were all aimed at Rhodes when it should have been the other way around. There should have been aimed towards Kouassi, and then Kouassi's the battering ram and Rhodes can feed off him. That's the way we should be doing it, and that's what we need to be focusing on. But the delivery was absolutely shocking in that first half, and it made Kouassi look average. It's the only time I've really seen him look average, I think. And we just saw that 15-minute cameo. What a battering ram it can be for us, and an effective one as well, and a skillful one. So yeah, it's I will be incredibly disappointed if he doesn't start tomorrow.
I think it depends. I think it depends on how he thinks Peterborough will play. If he thinks Peterborough will play possession football and try and play it around the back, along the back. I think he'll play Lavery to hassle him and bring Kouassi on. But I think if he doesn't feel as though and they're going to play a bit longer, I think he will play Kouassi.
But who are you picking, Andy?
Kouassi.
Who are you picking, Tim?
Oh, 100% Kouassi.
Right.
And if they do come at us and we want to go along to bring it out, Kouassi's your ideal man to do it for me, because he'll hold it. Just like, he's like a... For me, it's very Medine-like in some respects. The way that he acts as an outboard for us to actually build something from. But he's more, in many respects, he's more skillful. He's obviously more youthful, and as somebody said in the comments, he's probably a little bit faster than we actually think he is. But he's such a big unit.
He's faster than Medine, isn't he?
Yeah, he's such a big unit. He really is. He's actually quite scary when you get close to him. He's like such a physical force.
Yeah, I remember it coming out that Medine was faster than Rhodes out of the two. I think it was him that was saying it, maybe, but it was definitely. I'm sure they used to sprint against each other in training. Medine was quicker than Rhodes, so he was deceptively quick. But yeah, Kouassi, I've only seen him once live, which was at Charlton, and he was not worryingly slow, but he wasn't quick off the mark really. Probably comparing him to some of the strikers we've had recently, but yeah, he's had an amazing start to the season so far. So yeah, he does deserve to play.
I think we'd give him 60 minutes. I'd give him 60 minutes and then bring Lavery on. Give Larry a decent, half-hour period in the game. Okay, that's our team. Grimshaw, Dale, Husband, Casey, Pennington, Hamilton. The three in midfield, Dembele, Norburn and Dougal. Up front, Jordan Rhodes and Kylian Kouassi. Just before we go, gents, let's give our match predictions and call it a day after that. So, top to bottom, let's start with you, Tim. Blackpool v Peterborough tomorrow.
I'm going to stay positive and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win.
Andy?
4-0.
4-0. They are high-scoring games between us two. They always seem to be. I'm going to go for 3-1. It seems to be a pattern at home. I think it's...
Can I offer the Nick Smith sense of thought? Rhodes to score anytime.
It's like
I think he's put it on every game, and he or something.
Yeah.
Maybe you can use it for all
free money in it, Andy. Free money.
All right, Tom, close off the show. How are we going to do against Peterborough tomorrow?
If I go with my gut, I might say 2-2, but as soon as everyone else has gone for a win, and it's my first appearance back on the pod, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win.
You can't be doing the negative. You can't be doing a Tim, can you, and predicting a defeat when you've made your long-awaited return. Right.
Unfortunately, when we all say it's a win, you know what happens next, don't you?
We have got the Tuesday night. We have got the Tuesday night hoodoo out of the way, though. Just about.
Luckily, we play Fleetwood on a Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, on that note, I think we'll call it a day. Thanks everyone in the comments for joining the show. Great as ever to see you on a Friday. Let's hope the winning continues tomorrow. As we said, it's thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for downloading. And up the pool. Come on the pool against the pool.
Up the pool.